In this lesson, we will describe the effects of the Industrial Revolution on the United States, explain how two different economic systems developed in the North and South, and summarize the American plan, a plan devised to unite the country. Regional economies create differences. The North and South develop different economic systems that lead to political differences between the two regions. Another revolution affects America. Changes in manufacturing. By 1801, inventor Eli Whitney, who is pictured here, pioneers the use of something called interchangeable parts. Interchangeable parts are identical pieces that are used to assemble products. The first product that he created using interchangeable parts is guns, which can be seen here, and you can see all of the different interchangeable parts that are all put together to make the weapon. This leads to the factory system, to power-driven machinery, and workers who have different tasks. Mass production begins as well, which is production of goods in very, very large quantities. The Industrial Revolution is a social and economic reorganization where machines replace hand tools, where large-scale factory production develops as a result of all of the changes in manufacturing. Great Britain started the revolution in the 18th century. The British were the first to generate power from streams and from coal. They were also the first to develop power-driven machines for mass production and to build factories. The Industrial Revolution in the United States happens because of a few different reasons. After American independence, the U.S. income was primarily from international trade. But after the embargo of 1807 and the War of 1812 blockade shut down trade and shipping in the United States and hurt the American merchants are going to decide that they're going to create domestic industries where they don't have to buy anything from other countries. New England industrializes. A man named Samuel Slater is the first to build a thread factory in Pawtucket, Rhode Island in 1793. Then Francis Cabot Lowell, Nathan Appleton, and Patrick Tracy Jackson build weaving factories in two New England, Massachusetts towns, in Waltham and in Lowell, Massachusetts, and they mechanize all stages of cloth making. By the late 1820s, Lowell becomes a booming manufacturing center. Thousands of young women leave their family farms to go and work at the Lowell mills. Two economic systems are going to develop in the country during this time period. One is agriculture in the north, and one is cotton in the south. Now, agriculture in the north was very different than in the south. The north is going to become a primarily manufacturing area. So cash crops don't grow well in northern soil and climate. So the farms in the north are smaller than the farms in the south. In the old Northwest, farmers do raise one or two types of crops and livestock, but they sell their farm products at city markets to buy other items. They mostly center on grains, which do not need much labor, and they don't have a great profit, so they don't really need slaves. So northern slavery is dying out by the late 1700s. Most northern states are abolishing slavery by 1804, and a largely industrial economy is developing in the north. Cotton still remains king in the south. Eli Whitney's cotton gin allows farmers to grow cotton for a tremendous profit. The growing demand for cotton in Britain and in the north is going to increase the need for slaves. Poor non-slaveholding farmers are going to go west to try to cultivate and plant cotton, but a plantation system is firmly established in Louisiana, in Mississippi, and Alabama. Cotton becomes hugely profitable, and as the increase in cotton production increases, there's also going to be an increase in the slave population as the demand for slaves increase. Clay proposes the American system. President Madison's plan to unite the country's regions and create a strong economy centered around the nation's economic interests. He wanted to develop a transportation system to link the sections of the United States and to make internal improvements, like building roads, building canals, and laying railroad track. He also wanted to establish a protective tariff so that people would want to buy American goods because foreign goods would become more expensive, and he wanted to revive the national bank. The House Speaker, Henry Clay, who is pictured here, promotes the plan as the American system. And in the American system, the North is responsible for producing manufactured goods. The South and the West produce food and cotton. He wanted to also create a national currency and a transportation network which would make it easier to ship goods from one place to the next. All regions in the American system are meant to sustain the others, making the U.S. economically independent, and so they don't have to buy anything from other countries. The Erie Canal and other improvements. Railroads were not in common use yet. The first steam engine isn't even built until 1825. Many states were building turnpikes and toll roads because they could pay for themselves. The federal government is also going to fund highways to connect different regions. So in 1838, the National Road is completed and extends from Cumberland, Maryland to Vandalia, Illinois. You can see the National Road pictured on this map here. The Erie Canal is going to be built to link the Hudson River to Lake Erie, and then finally the Atlantic Ocean to the Great Lakes. The Erie Canal can be seen on this map from here to here. And then it meets the Hudson River and goes down to the Atlantic. Other states are going to build over 3,000 miles of canals by 1837. The more canals and roads and turnpikes that are built, the easier it is to ship goods between different sections of the country. Tariffs and the National Bank. Madison proposes the Tariff of 1816, which is a tariff on imports. It increases the cost of foreign goods. People are more likely to buy American goods because they don't cost as much as foreign goods, and they help pay for improvements like roads and toll roads and canals. The Northeast supports the tariff and likes it. The South and West are not happy that they have to pay higher prices for things. Henry Clay and John C. Calhoun are going to sway congressmen from the South and West to approve. Most leaders still agree that the national bank and the national currency actually benefits the entire country and every section. After James Madison finishes being president, he has 2 terms. James Monroe is elected president in 1816, and the beginning and the time period during his presidency is commonly known as the era of good feelings, and we will discuss that in another lesson. If you look at the map here, you can see that supporting tariffs definitely differs on what section of the country you live in. The red is against the tariff largely, and the South was not really crazy about tariffs. The green is for, and that's mostly the North, and then the blue was split half and half. But anytime we talk about a tariff in the time period that we're going to be discussing, it's typically going to be that the North supports it, but that the South does not. And that will continue to become a problem.